Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name's Tiffany. I'm a doctoral candidate. My doctorate is in curriculum and instruction, and I'm in the final semesters of my program, which is both overwhelming and exciting at the same time. This is my first attempt at vlogging my week and sharing that with you, so I hope that you enjoy it. It might be a little bumpy this week as I'm getting the hang of doing that, but don't worry about it, I'll get it, we're good. I am in the process of data analysis for my dissertation, and actually right now I'm in a pretty hectic 2.5 weeks of trying to get the final chapters of my dissertation done and off to my committee for their initial feedback before defending in the spring, and then spending a couple months making edits and hopefully graduating in May. So as I was watching YouTube, I love watching other doctoral students and candidates filming and vlogging their experiences. What I found to be missing were some of the non-traditional students like me, who was a history teacher full-time for the past 3.5 years, a military spouse, a mom. I just felt like there was something missing. So I hope that if you are considering your doctorate and you are a non-traditional student, this will be useful for you. But even if you're not, maybe you'll find something of value. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this vlog, and as you're watching, let me know in the comments if we have anything in common, if there are any topics you want to hear more about from me. I hope you enjoy. Good morning. It is Tuesday. What is today? November 16th, and I have about 2.5 weeks until I need to have a full version of my dissertation to my committee based on my own timeline. But that's the time that I'm giving myself. So this won't be the final version of my dissertation. It'll be a completed version, and then there will be edits based on their suggestions and the quality assurance suggestions and all of that going forward. But I'd planned to defend in December before we went out for break, but I really just need the time. I think I'm going to aim to defend in January and go from there. Even though I hope to graduate in May, if I want to graduate in May, I really need to have everything done by March based on the university's timeline. So what that means for today is that I need to get busy. It is 8:50 right now. I've already had breakfast, packed lunches, kids are off to school. Typically I would have worked out. So I'm gonna give myself a break today for this morning. If I feel kind of angsty later, I'll go for a run later on, but I need to get to work. I am so sorry about this lighting. This just happens to be where I'm working today. I made a shift, and I wanted to tell you about it in case you're a grad student and you're like, do I really need all these tech tools and things like that? I think it depends, but I thought I would tell you kind of how I am using them for my dissertation specifically. I created all of my logs of information from the data sources in spreadsheets. I really don't want to print them all out. I'd really rather just work with them in a digital format so that I can keep sending them back and forth between my devices as I need to. So what I did instead was I downloaded each sheet individually as a PDF from the textbook analysis, because that's the one I'm working on right now. And I airdropped those PDFs to my iPad. Now what I'm doing is I'm going through those initial notes that I wrote throughout, which are kind of initial codes that can be reduced down to themes, and then I'll identify evidence in the data sources to support those bigger themes. I'm going through and I'm finding notes where they are aligned, and I'm marking them out so that they stand out as a single group. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm just going to show you a snapshot of something that I'm looking at right now. Remember though, these are not the way these are going to go into my dissertation. These are stream of consciousness notes. Sometimes there might be typos, or they might not sound like they are complete full thoughts, but they make sense to me. And these are what I'm using to then develop those more complex themes, okay? So
keep that in mind.
I like the way GoodNotes does with highlighting, and this is a PDF. Since it is a PDF, I can just airdrop it right back to my computer when I'm done, and then I have that laid out, and it'll be easy for me to work with. And I'll also have me tracking the phases of the data analysis process, which I want those cemented steps in case I need to return to a previous step for some reason, so I have a hard copy of that step of the process. You want to keep the raw initial data, and then when you start to reduce it down or start to make changes or combine things, you want to do that in a new space, and you want to save every step of that data analysis process from the raw portions of it and logged next step into those spreadsheets. And now instead of editing on those, I would have either duplicated those and called them like V2 and worked in there, or did what I did here and download them as a PDF and make edits and changes and grouping there. And then when I get to my next step, I will do it in a new place. And I know that that sounds like, why do you keep making more and more and more? But it's so important to track what you're doing and to be able to return to those most original forms. Coding to me is not just a linear process for qualitative data analysis. I feel like it's a constant returning back to the raw and looking at it again and maybe looking at it in a different way. And if you edit in your one document, you lose that. And it's the same thing with my dissertation. I have my pre-proposal separate from what I wrote up for comp exams, separate from what I wrote for my proposal, and I will not use my proposal document to go in and make the changes that I need to make for my dissertation. And when I change my dissertation, as I'm going through the editing process, I will make a copy, and that is just to save that original work in case for some reason you realize that you got rid of something that you really didn't mean to or that you shouldn't have. It's always going to be there. So you'll have all of these versions that you can always go back onto for your work. It's something that I learned from working with an experienced researcher. I realized very quickly that they did that. Now there can be confusion if you're not organized. If you're going to do this, you have to be organized, or you'll end up with all these copies. You won't know which one is the most recent one or the one you're working with. So you need to make sure that you are going in, labeling, being very specific. I like to put the date. Just a tip from me to you, but that's how I'm using my iPad, GoodNotes, the pen. That's how I justify having this. Do you have to have an iPad and an Apple Pen to do a dissertation? Absolutely not. There are thousands of people before me who have done it without it. But is it a tool that I find to be really useful, especially in the digitized world that we live in, and for reducing the amount of bulk that you have to carry around and things like that? Yeah, absolutely. Hi y'all. So I'm still working, just taking like a tiny break for a second. I've been talking to some of my friends that are in the same program as me, the doctoral program, and there's something that I wanted to share with you. So if you're watching this, I'm assuming you're a teacher, you are a doctoral student or candidate, or maybe you have an interest in becoming one. And I absolutely love the program that I'm a part of. It has allowed me to cultivate skills that I needed and just being able to conduct the research that I wanted. With that being said, the one common complaint that I have, that my peers that I'm close to in constant communication with have about this program, is the time it has taken to finish it. So going into a doctoral program, you have to know it's going to take a long time. It's going to be a very extended period of time of very challenging work. I'm grateful for all that I've learned and everything like that. I just feel like it was a little misleading on the front end with the amount of time that it would take. Try to talk to students who have been in the program, maybe professors, maybe really ask those hard questions when you're talking to the advisor. Ask them those hard questions like, I see that it says 4 years, but what is the actual average time to graduation? Those are things you want to think about, especially if, like me, for the first 3.5 years of the program, I'm just now on an opportunity to work without teaching full-time and working as a graduate research assistant. This is the first time I've ever been able to just focus on the dissertation, it would have been beneficial to know that timeline a little more realistically for me. And same for you if you're planning to teach full-time while doing it, because it's a lot of your life that you're giving up to something, and you want to be able to plan for that. Just there's lots of reasons. And also not feeling like, wait, I'm so close, and then you realize, wait, that's not feasible. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of rambly. Anyway, I'm going back to work. I don't know why I committed to vlogging as my next video at the end of that last one, because I'm gonna be the worst vlogger ever. So I forgot to jump back on last night because I kept working. My kids came home, and then when my husband got home, we had to run to the grocery store, and that's always like a whole production. By the time we got home, it was like fixing supper, and everybody was tired and cranky. So I didn't get any work done last night, which sucks, but it is what it is, right? So I'm getting a little bit of a later start today. I was just really tired this morning, but I'm gonna go for a run, and when I come back, I'm gonna jump into some work. I actually have a meeting later today that I need to prepare for, so I'll be partially doing dissertation work and partially prepping for that, and I will check back in with you once I get back in the house and sit down to get some work done. So wish me luck. Hopefully this ends up really well and not as terrible as I'm feeling right now. Okay, so run is done. Clearly, I am a sweaty mess. I'm about to walk outside. It's really pretty today. Yeah, so funny story, I definitely walked out and I was taking our water bottles out. We set out the empties to get new ones, and I definitely left my house key inside and had to call my husband. So luckily, about the time of my run is about how long it took him to get back, and then he had to let me back in. But I just completely spaced out and forgot them. This is all dissertation, doctoral journey related, because when you get to a place where you don't physically feel good, it's really hard to sit down and spend 8 to 12 hours working on your dissertation. So it all ties together for me and plays a big role. It's just finding that right balance for me, and you go through different seasons in life, finding those balances, and they will be different at different ages and different seasons depending on what you're going through. But anyway, I'm gonna go find something to eat and then take a shower. Okay, so I haven't checked in with you in a while. My camera battery died. I just got out of the shower, and I'm just gonna let my hair air dry for a little bit while I'm working. That is something that I have not done very much of today, is work. Ended up getting on the phone with my dad for a while and emailing about how I want to plan out next semester as far as graduation. I have got about an hour and 15 minutes until my kids get off the bus, so I'm just gonna hustle through that hour and get as much done as possible. Anyway, let's be productive. Okay, so I was able to make quite a little bit of progress. I have 8 themes right now that I've been able to identify in just the textbook section, with plenty of support for all of those. So those may even be combined moving forward or reduced down. It just depends. We have to kind of see where it goes, and again do that circle back thing. But I just got my kids off the bus and they're getting settled and snacks, so I think I'm gonna hang out with them for just a little bit, and then I'm gonna come do some prep for the meeting that I have later this afternoon, just to make sure good to go, ready for that. Good progress, and I'll meet you back in just a little bit after I have a snack and chill with them. Good morning. I completely forgot to check back in with you last night. I am an overthinker, like an extreme overthinker, and so anytime I do any kind of talk or meeting or anything, the next several hours are gonna be me coming down from my overthinking. Welcome to my life. Last night after that meeting, pretty much all I did was overthink about what I wanted to say. And you know, it's always that way, like you're in the moment and you think of things later and specific examples you should have given or different ways you could have responded. I'm always like that. Now that that is out of the way, I am back to just focusing on dissertation stuff. So I am gonna go find some breakfast. I just put the kids on the bus and got back. You know, I almost ordered Uber Eats for breakfast because I was just like, you know what? I'm just not in the mood. I am not in the mood. And I'm so glad I didn't, because that was so good. Like, you really can't go wrong with a toaster waffle and a spinach and cheese omelet. I need to get going with work. Today I'm still coding. Like, I don't even have anything new to tell you. I'm still coding. Another day, another run. I didn't jump back on yesterday. I did keep working, and then I had a meeting with an honor society. It's like an education honor society that I'm an officer in. We're planning to host some study sessions for pre-service teachers that are getting ready to take their certification exams. That was a long meeting. But anyway, so my Fridays look a little bit different. So this will probably be the last day for this vlog, and then I'll get that edited. But I'll show you how I time blocked out my calendar, and maybe next week I'll let you know if it works for me or if it was so infuriating that I never want to use my Google Calendar ever again. So I'll see you in just a little bit. I just got done with a Zoom working session. I'm still in the Zoom, but I don't think anybody else is gonna get on right now. But I'm about to get to work. And this will be like my last day of the vlog. Fridays are a little weird because I do take some time off in the middle of the day on Fridays. That's kind of me and my husband's designated adult time because as parents, busy working parents, we just don't get a lot of time together, just us. So we try to take time and have lunch together on Fridays, which is always something I look forward to. But then the afternoon of my Friday will still be pretty busy, so I'll check in with you then. So we get back and we get the kids and get them settled. I'll probably get back on around 3 or 3:30, and then I'll be working until 5. And at 5 my doctoral students group meets. We all share a committee chair, and on Fridays there are 10 of us, and we typically meet. We all just catch up. Sometimes we're really heavy talking about our dissertation work. Sometimes we're just talking about life and the week in general, but it's just building those relationships, having those people there to understand you, to bounce ideas off of. It's just really helpful. So I will check back in with you in a little bit. So what I'm going to be working on for the next hour before we go to lunch, I've pretty much completed the content analysis of my textbook to a point, of my textbooks to a point. I have about 8 themes that I have identified across all of the books, and some of those, again, I may combine them so there's a little less. I'm going to be working in Word, and I'm going to enter those themes and start putting in some actual evidence from the text that supports those themes, so some straight examples from the data, and then I'm also going to pull some explicit examples of where those data diverge. It's kind of what I'm working on now. And then for the rest of this weekend, that's pretty much what I'm doing for the standards and the framework. And then again, the last thing I want to do are those teacher responses, because I don't want their perspectives to come in and impact my analysis of the textbook standards and framework. I want that to be something separate so that I'm not influenced by them, if that makes sense. I have like skimmed through them, but I haven't actually coded or anything with those yet. I'm saving that part for last. By the end of this weekend, I should have my data done, ready to go. That's my goal. And starting Monday, it will just be straight writing. So yeah, I need to get busy. So let's work on some data analysis. I'm playing around with time blocking. I sort of did it today, but I'm really kicking it off next week. You can see my calendar back there behind me. I'm just using Google Calendar. I'm not using any special apps, mostly because quite a few of the things that I do throughout the week match to that Google Calendar anyway, like Zooms that I need to attend and stuff like that. So I just figured I would all in there. So and this could lead me to hate Google Calendar or love it, but I'll let you know if this helps me be more effective. One of the things about a dissertation that's challenging for some people, I think, is that so much of it requires you to be on it, planning, organized, scheduled. Because when you're at a job or even when you're in courses, people are really telling you your blocks of time. Now as teachers, we have within our hours a lot of blocking and scheduling that we do. So I'm trying to translate that feeling of the work day and the structure of the day into getting this done over the next 2.5 weeks. If you time block and it works for you, let me know in the comments. Or if you time block and it makes you miserable, let me know that too. And if you can pinpoint why, that might be helpful to me. But anyway, we'll see. Okay, so I just finished up about an hour and 15-minute long work session with one of my fellow doctoral students. And I'm starting to get like a fuzzy brain and so sleepy. I had a full energy drink and I still feel like I'm about to fall asleep. So I think what I'm gonna do is take like a full 20-minute break and do anything except this, because at 5 I have my doctoral student meeting, and so I'll be talking and engaging during that. I'll probably get some work done here and there as we're in the meeting, but that one's really less of a study session and more of like a participation session. So I'll be doing that, but my brain is so shot right now. All right, YouTube, I just finished my doctoral meeting. It's 6:25 and we ordered some pizza and we're gonna hang out with the kids. I am so exhausted. I'm gonna end the vlog here. I hope you saw something valuable this week. I hope to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.